As someone who champions all forms of innovation and fresh thinking in the firearms world, I was intrigued when Jesse James came onto the gun scene a few years ago. Like a lot of you, I sat back and watched, curious if he could live up to his own reputation. Well, this year, I finally got a chance to head down to his shop in Austin and see his handiwork for myself. Finally was able to make it out here after, what, years of trying to?
3 years.
But finally got out here, and I'm glad I have, and this place is pretty dope.
Is it different than when you were expecting?
No, it's kind of what I was expecting, but you know, seeing things in reality versus what they are in your head, sometimes in reality and what your mind says doesn't match. This actually matches.
It's better than the internet.
And you know what's funny? It's like, because your guns on the internet, they look good on the internet, but like seeing it in person is a totally different experience. So the gun thing, was that always a part of your life, or is that something that just kind of happened at a certain point?
My dad was pro-gun, like NRA member, lots of sheriff friends, and they always had guns. And I remember like one 4th of July or something, like one of my dad's sheriff friend brought him a cannon to like the middle of like Southgate.
Yeah.
You know, like shooting it on the street. And
this is in California.
Yeah, Lytle Creek, and shoot. And that's one thing he did do right, is he taught me gun safety. Shooting it when I'm like 10, boom!
What was the gun culture out in Cali like at that time? Is it anything like it is today?
It's so oppressed, but I didn't even know it. I didn't even realize, like, until I moved here, like, how bad it was.
Really?
You know, I bought an Armalite heavy barrel AR-50, and then they like got a letter where they were trying to seize it and take it when they banned like 50 caliber. And I had to go down and have a letter from a lawyer and register it and all this stuff. My shop was on the corner for 20 years, where it's just like mayhem. But then when I moved here, I was like, whoa. I walked into the gun store right up that has like a whole class 3 room and stuff like that, and I'm like, can I be in here?
Yeah.
Like, it was so oppressed that I shut it off. I didn't look at gun magazines. I didn't look online. I just knew I couldn't have anything, so why even bother looking at it?
Yeah. You've been building bikes for all these years. You got hugely famous as a result of it. What made you want to start building guns?
I came here and I like went on Texas Gun Trader and I bought a used Kimber CDP2. Little commander size bull barrel. I welded up all the slide, then I decked it, machined it, and like flat topped it, and then I made grips. I did a trigger job. I figured out how to take the whole thing apart, and then I had Tay that does all the engraving for our bikes engrave the whole thing. And then I polished it all up, and I posted a picture of it on like Facebook, and like, you know, like 10,000 people liked it, and some friend of mine that's a prince in Kuwait called another friend and said, hey, get a hold of Jesse. And he's like, I want to buy 3 of those for me and my brothers. And I'm like, shit, it would be like 25 grand a piece.
Yeah.
He's all, sold. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm in the gun business now.
So how different is being in the gun business versus building?
Well, I think it's a combination of like, hey, I had a market for what I do and the way I do it. And I really, walking around SHOT Show like 5 or 6 years ago, I was like, wow, you know, I know how to do stuff kind of a little bit
similar to what?
Better or different than 99% of the people here. Just the way I do things is different. So I was like, I can really make a difference. I could like carve out a little corner for myself.
Now, would you consider yourself an artist?
I have a really hard time with that term because I know some people that are artists.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard because it's like guns and bikes and cars, they're like lawnmowers, man. Yeah. You just ride that thing hard until it breaks, and then you weld it up and keep going.
So why put so much passion into it? Because I look at the stuff you create, it doesn't, when I look at your design language, I don't get they're just lawnmowers to me.
You could have a nice lawnmower.
So you just like nice things?
Yeah, you ever see one of those badass, like chromed out garbage trucks in like New York City?
No.
Cruising down the highway?
I haven't seen it, no.
Yeah.
Why
make it nice? You're just gonna dump garbage in it.
New York City is pretty dirty though.
Yeah.
It's dirty as hell, actually.
If you're gonna do anything, you might as well do it with a little flair, a little style.
Isn't that the same thing as art?
Art is subjective though, because you're not gonna like, if some guy does some abstract drawing and then you're gonna look at like a veneer painting, those can't compete.
Why would one command a higher price than the other? Because I think there's kind of more of a concrete, there's a starting point with machines, you know? You can put more value
I don't think
in.
what I do is ever fully considered as art because it has to do something.
What has to do something? The art?
No, what I do.
Gotcha.
And a lot of the skills I have are blue-collar tradesman skills. They're not, you know, impressionist, art, sculpture, clay, even though I use clay. Even though, actually, I'm gonna eat these words because I just agreed to do a collaboration with Albert Paley, one of the best sculptors in the world, metal sculptors. If you see my feet, people like, all day, I want to come work with you. Any way somebody could get a hold of me, email, letter, Facebook, like, can I come? I'll pay to come spend a day in your shop. I'll pay to come work there. I love what you do. You inspire me, blah, blah. You know, I appreciate all of it. But when I was 21 years old, I wrote that same letter to Albert Paley.
Really?
And now him and I are working together. And he never responded because he didn't, I guess, someone was running his office that was messed up or whatever, and he never got the messages. But it's like kind of a good lesson, like, hey, just stick with it, man. You can find your own way.
Would you say you're a better bike builder or a better gun builder?
Oh, definitely better bike builder.
Yeah.
I'm still, I mean, I'm only 2 years into my master pistolsmith apprenticeship and still like discovering and learning every day. And I don't think I've really hit stride yet. And we're doing a lot of stuff that's really cool, but I'm still like working on other people's formats and other people's, you know, other ARs and 1911s, which are beautiful. And then, but I want to see what I make when I throw all that stuff out, like I did in the bikes, because for years, probably for the first decade of building bikes, I used other people's frames, other people's front ends, other people's stuff. And it wasn't until the late 90s that I was like, man, why am I using everybody else's stuff? I'm going to make everything myself. Then the bikes took on a whole different thing. And now I make everything, you know, so everything but a motor and trans. But gun stuff, you know, well, I mean, you were there when we started. When we first rolled everything out.
I was there,
So look at how much it's changed. Now what's going to happen in another 3 years, you know, and still struggle to keep it small. I don't have any interest in
making it just this massive production where you're kind of just,
you know, and I've already had that. I've already had, you know, a multi-million-dollar company with hundreds of employees and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, it's not, I have to be working to be successful. Like physical manual labor. That's successful to me. You know, a lot of people that struggle with their business or what they're passionate about and stuff, they don't ever figure in their labor part of it. Everybody tries to navigate through any kind of work stuff or idea or business, and they're always trying to look for the magic trick or the shortcut or the easy way, and it's not that, man. It's just work. The skills that I'm learning here, it's taken me since 2009 to get to this point, and that's sweating my ass off and making my fingers bleed to learn how to do it, and that's all it is, you know. It's just perseverance and stick with it, you know.